Yeah, so now we come back to the business, that how do we make a decision for a map to be isometry or not? Because checking all the curves etc. may be harder because you'll have too many things. But the criterion comes from the first fundamental form, that the simple thing is it preserves first fundamental form. That's it. That's enough, because first fundamental form will determine the the length, displacement, what is that form, and that will decide the length. So actually that is enough. Okay, so let me write that theorem. A diffeomorphism, this is always an assumption, because distance preserving could happen, because the length of the curve, even if you repeat the length keeps adding. So therefore you need to make sure your map is a bijection. Length preserving in the sense of integral is not enough. So therefore you have to be careful. Diffeomorphism F from S1 to S2, of course S1, S2 are surfaces, smooth regular surfaces etc., not smooth surfaces, is an isometry in the as per our definition, if and only if in one word F preserves the first fundamental form. I can write it in a more, for all surface patches sigma from U to S1, the first fundamental form associated with sigma and the first fundamental form associated with F composite sigma are identical. The first fundamental form associated with sigma and that associated with F composite sigma. See, if you have a map, if you have a surface patch here, then you put S2, S2, F, then this is already a F is a diffeomorphism that ensures that F composite sigma is also a surface patch on S2. So you given any surface patch on S1, immediately this will give a surface patch on S2. So the first fundamental forms you get for that surface patch, that must be are identical. That means if the first one is E1 du square, E du square plus 2f du dv plus g dv square, and the next one is E tilde du square plus 2f tilde du dv plus g tilde dv square, then E is equal to E tilde, F is equal to F tilde and G equal to G tilde. That's what it meant by saying that the two forms are equal, because form part du, dv etc. there is no change, it's the same. The only thing changes is the coefficients. So two forms are equal if and only if their coefficients are equal. So E, F, G, the triple associated with sigma, and E tilde, F tilde, G tilde, the triple associated with F composite sigma, they are identical. E equal to E tilde, F equal to F tilde, and G equal to G tilde. That's what this means. Okay. So if, to make things more clear, if you like, du square plus 2f du dv plus g dv square and E tilde du square plus 2 F tilde du dv plus G tilde dv square are the first fundamental forms associated with sigma, and this is with respect to sigma, this and F composite sigma respectively, then E equal to E tilde, these are functions, F equal to F tilde, G equal to G tilde. These are functions on the domain, both are functions on U. E tilde, all these 6 are functions on U. So among them, E must be equal to E tilde, F is F tilde, G equal to G tilde. That is what we get. Okay. So this is just an explanation to what I meant by the first fundamental forms are identical. Okay. So probably why to remove all that? Let us for the proof. So we start with a surface patch, and let us take let this and this be the first fundamental forms associated with this respectively. Okay. So of course this is what. By the way, I mean converse. Okay, I will do it afterwards. That is trivial. So maybe in the proof, I'm reducing my writing, but you can rewrite. Suppose you take this, okay? Now first thing, we are supposed to prove that E equal to E tilde, F equal to F tilde, and G equal to G tilde. That's what we are supposed to prove, okay? So let us fix a point, because these are functions. To show functions are equal, you are supposed to prove that the functions are equal at any given point. So let us fix some point. So let U0, V0 be a point in U. Okay. Now here you show that E U0, V0 is equal to E tilde U0, V0, F U0, V0 equal to F tilde U0, V0, and G U0, V0 equal to G tilde. Because U0, V0 is arbitrary, matter gets over. Okay. But remember, what is given is that, I didn't assume. Let F be an isometry. Okay. Let F be an isometry. Maybe my proof procedure is not very good. Maybe this is not a very nice way of saying. And you fix 2 points. You take 2 surface patches. It's okay, no problem. Okay, I'm just reducing my writing. Now, so what we do is let us take any curve. This is a very arbitrary one. For any curve gamma, let us say from anywhere for any, so any means alpha beta is also arbitrary, to S1, length of gamma is equal to length of F composite gamma. This is known to us. Because F is an isometry, then by definition, for any curve, length of gamma equal to length of F composite gamma. We will come back to this. So, we also know that if you are given any curve, then you can get a curve ut vt here, such that. So, we know we can write gamma t is equal to sigma ut vt. So this we have seen. So So what do we get? Let us look at gamma dot t first. That we can easily write. Gamma dot t is going to be, well, let's not even keep on writing that. This we have seen this. This is equal to E u dot t square plus 2f u dot t v dot t. This we have seen in the last session, earlier sessions. G v dot t square. I have to caution you one thing. I mean, when I write like this, this means E is evaluated at UTVT. Okay, so this is to be understood. Though I have not written. For every t, your E is not a constant. Maybe I mean, at least for once, at least if you want, I can write it. But keep in mind, we don't keep writing like that. E at UTVT. So E is a function defined on that into u dot t square plus 2f again evaluated at UTVT, where is gamma t, image of gamma t is exactly, is at that point. Or you can write at gamma t, but then everything we are doing in UV. So I am just writing plus finally G again UTVT and UTVT v dot t square. We may not keep writing this, and it's just understood that it is evaluated at the respective points because it's too much of writing. Okay. And what about, let us write the other one. Gamma tilde t is equal to f composite gamma t. Okay. And let us write down. So what do you get? That's equal to f composite gamma t can be written as sigma UTVT. So that means f composite sigma UTVT. This could also be rewritten as f composite sigma UTVT. This is a surface patch for which the first fundamental form is this. Therefore, apply that. So your gamma tilde dot t square. So this time, this is the function and this is the surface patch. For this surface patch, the first fundamental form is this. So apply as we did earlier. So this is equal to E tilde. I am not going to write the one. Evaluated at again UTVT. E tilde, sorry, u dot t square plus similarly there f tilde u dot t. Oh, sorry. U dot t v dot t plus. Sorry, I mean it has to be there. Okay, f tilde u dot t into v dot t plus G tilde again evaluated at UTVT v dot t square. So this is the square of it. Okay, and so what is given? What is given is that f is an isometry. Therefore, length of this is going to be length of this. So we can take any point between them because then that's another curve. Any restriction, the curve, another curve. So for any T1, T2 in alpha, beta, that means now you are considering your curve from T1 to T2 or T2 to T1, doesn't matter, there's a sign problem, you don't worry. You get the length from T1 to T2, let us say, need not be, because since it is true for every curve, you give me a curve, I can restrict it, I get another curve. It's a part of it. There also you can do it because that's independent of the domain or anything. For every curve this is true. So you do this. The length of this, that is square root of this whole thing. Let me make a small compromise here because it's too much to write all these. Let me make this whole thing, let me take this. You may have to rewrite, but this whole thing inside the square root is gt. So square root of that, and very weird way. Yeah, this is square root of this I will write as g tilde t. Okay, I don't mind. So that it's easy for us to rewrite. Always, you know, that's the way mathematicians, square root I take, the square root. So norm, that's what we have to integrate. So it will be square root of this expression. Write it as g1t, gt, and this is g tilde t. So, so length of gamma from t1 to t2 is this gt dt. But remember, square root is always taken as positive. Okay, so that's something that you have to keep. Equal to integral from again the length of this t1 to t2. Domain of definition is the same of gamma. If this and the other one is just f composite gamma. So it is defined on alpha beta. So any t1 t2 inside also we can do that. And this is going to be g tilde t tt. Okay. So now we have to analyze this. So I mean, so far we took an arbitrary curve and done, but we are yet to come back to what we want. So what we now assume that we take a gamma such that there is some t naught in alpha beta such that gamma t naught is equal to the point that we started with. Ultimately we have to reach there. Okay. So what we want to say is that that at that point E equal to E tilde, F equal to F tilde, G equal to G tilde. So you take a curve that passes through T naught for the time being, okay, and then do the whole thing. So it is given that these two integrals are equal. So we have this last expression. So look at G T naught and G tilde T naught. We would like to say that G T naught equal to G tilde T naught. Okay, but that's not very clear. So let us assume, suppose if possible, they are different. Say let us assume G T naught is greater than G tilde T naught. Okay, so this is the place you all should understand a little bit of real analysis. So, so that means, if you have two continuous functions, g and g tilde, take it as continuous functions. So this is your t naught, and this is g tilde t naught, and this is your g t naught. G t naught is bigger than g tilde t naught. Then in a small neighborhood of t naught, this curve cannot come below that. So this curve may be going like this. This may after some time come below that. But in a small interval, this will always be positive. It will be bigger. In other words, g t naught minus g tilde t naught is positive. Then in a small interval, the function has to be positive. Otherwise, what will happen? In every interval, the function becomes negative or 0. Then there will be a point at which g some sequence such that your g minus g tilde t is less than or equal to 0. So the limit is 0. So limit is going to be less than or equal to 0, which is a contradiction because at that point the function is going to be positive. So therefore, hence since g and g tilde, they are already smooth, are continuous, that is enough. In fact, just epsilon delta definition would do. There is a neighborhood such that this difference is going to be bigger than some number, and then take half of it and make it above that. Or positivity, what do you say? If g epsilon, h, let me write h t naught is equal to some r that is positive. Then take your epsilon to be r by 2. Then there is a delta neighborhood in which the distance from h t naught to h t naught is less than r by 2. Less than r by 2 means what? The value will be greater than r by 2 because the distance from ht0 to h2 is less than r by 2. So therefore your ht must be greater than r by 2. That is enough. That's the standard proof. So you can do that. That will happen in a small neighborhood delta. Continuous, there exists delta positive such that we need only that much g tilde gt is greater than g tilde t for every t belonging to t0 minus delta t0 plus delta, which is, of course, we expect this to be a contained in alpha beta the interval. That's okay. In the domain of definition, otherwise I can't. So now look at, consider the curve restricted to this. If gamma 1 is equal to gamma restricted to this place, t0 minus delta, t0 plus delta, just in this interval, then what will happen? Delta, then this will be, so integral from t0 minus delta to t0 plus delta, gamma 1 is the same as gamma, so you can write this will be gt dt, that's going to be strictly greater than t0 minus delta, t0 plus delta, g tilde t dt, because gt is greater than g tilde and they are all positive. So therefore non-negative at least. So therefore this integral is going to be greater than this integral. That's a contradiction. This is, of course, we have restricted gamma to this interval. That's enough for us. So therefore, even if it is different at one point, you can get they are different in an interval, and getting this the gamma restricted to that interval, you will not get equality. So this contradiction, so length of gamma 1 is strictly greater than length of gamma 1, F composite gamma 1. That's a contradiction. This is the gamma 1 is gamma itself, except that the domain is just restricted to t0 minus delta, t0 plus delta, where this integrand is strictly greater than the integrand associated with F composite gamma 1. So that proves that. So this is a contradiction. Therefore, our assumption that at the point t0 this is greater than is false. So hence you can write this star is false. Therefore g t0 is equal to g t0. So that means this guy is the same as this guy. So therefore, now it's very simple. Therefore, g gt square is equal to g tilde t square. So let us get out of this square root business. So now I'm going to write, I'm not going to write those evaluated points. So therefore, E u dot square plus 2f u dot v dot plus g v dot square is equal to the other side. Here it is E tilde u dot square plus 2f tilde u dot v dot plus g tilde v dot square. The two are equal, evaluated at those points. Now this you can repeat for any curve passing through u naught v naught. There is a t naught such that gamma t naught is u naught v naught. Any such curve, the whole exercise you can continue. So now what we do is a very simple thing. Slightly, take some particular curve. So in particular, what I want is, I want to say E at u0 v0 is the same as E tilde. So what do? I want to get this equal to 1 and these two 0. A very simple trick. Okay. In particular, let gamma t is equal to this I want 1. So u0 plus t comma v0. So what is that actually? I mean, let me draw that picture clearly. This is your u0 v0. So what is the curve? u0 plus t. So that is this, and x-axis you vary, y-axis you fix. So this curve, the line parallel to the x-axis, its equation is u0 plus t v0. Okay, passing through u0 v0. Of course, you can take gamma 0. Here t0 is going to be 0. Okay, so gamma 0 is equal to u0 v0. So it passes through u0 v0. Now let us substitute here. What is u0? So what is ut? Ut is equal to u0 plus t, and vt is constant v0. That you can see that. So this gamma t is ut vt. Ut is this, vt is this. Vt is a constant. You can see this curve. That's exactly the curve. Okay, and gamma 0 is this. So let us look at gamma dot, u dot t. That's enough. We don't have to worry. Gamma dot u dot t is 1 and v dot t is 0. Substitute there. Substitute here. So at this point, at t0, these two are equal. Of course, I should write. We only said this is equal. Okay. So t0. So this is evaluated at ut0, vt0. They are equal. So in particular, our t0 is 0. Of course, I should say t0 equal to 0. So substitute here. What do you get? E u dot square is 1 plus f 2f u dot v dot. V dot is 0. And this is also 0. So left hand side is only E. And right hand side, E tilde u dot square, that is E tilde, plus V dot tilde is 0. What is this? Why did I write like this? Sorry for that. U tilde, u dot and v dot are, v dot is 0, u dot is 1, but v dot is 0. Here also v dot is 0. So there you go. So you have E at the point t0, v t0. But that namely u0 v0. So this is very E u0 v0 is equal to E tilde u0 v0. Now for the other one, because immediately we can do G very easily similarly. There what we do, this becomes 1 and u dot is 0, v dot. So taking gamma t is equal to, now what we do, this we keep as it is, u0, and there v0 plus t you substitute. So ut is u0 constant, so u dot is 0, vt is v0 plus t, so v dot t is 1, v dot at t0 at 0 is also 1. So you can see gamma 0 is equal to u0 v0, and ut is u0 t, so u0 constant, so u dot t is 0, vt is this. By the way, u0 v0 is already fixed point, so they are constants. So v dot t is equal to, differentiate this, you get 1, substitute, so we get G, here you substitute, u dot is 0, u dot is 0, so you get only G, v dot square is 1. So G at, of course, at that point u0 v0 equal to G tilde at u0 v0. So that is done. Now we need, after having done this, we need the third one. The third one, what we do is we take this line. So that is the third one. So I use the same gamma notation, but they are all different curves, because there what we had curve is this. So taking gamma t is equal to u naught plus t, v naught plus t. So 0 goes to, again gamma 0 is u naught v naught. And ut is u naught plus t, vt is v naught plus t. So ut is equal to u naught plus t, vt is equal to v naught plus t. That's all right. So what is u dot t? U dot t is equal to 1. V dot t is also equal to 1. So substitute there. So what do you get? All u dot t, v dot t, everything. So E plus 2f plus g equal to E plus 2f plus g, because all u dot, v dot both are 1. So this u dot square is 1, this is 1, this is 1, equal to E tilde plus, all evaluated at u naught v naught, by the way. At u naught v naught, this, so equal to E tilde plus 2 f tilde equal plus g tilde. But already we, of course, at the point u naught v naught, this. But E and E tilde are same. G and G tilde, we already proved they are same at u naught v naught. So 2 is non-zero, cancel it. You have f u naught v naught is equal to f tilde u naught v naught. So therefore, given any point u naught v naught, we have proved that E and E, F, G is the same as E tilde, F tilde, G tilde. So that's the main part of the theorem. To look at some examples, of course, from plane to plane we have seen example like translations and standard, what is that, rotations, reflections, etc. come. But on surfaces, sometimes it's very interesting to see some examples of non-trivial. Look like cylinder. Let us see. What I mean, if you want to find out distances of points between, this is a very useful method. That's why I'm giving this example. Cylinder. I mean, to get an isometry with something, the best way is, I mean, you can imagine, cylinder is actually, you take a plane sheet and then bend it, that's how you get cylinder. See, in this bending, you are actually not doing anything to the distance. The distance between these 2 points on this, while bending, the distance doesn't change, because we are not stretching, we are not contracting. That's the idea we use to say that there is an isometry between a plane piece and the cylinder. Okay, so how do we do? I mean, this of course you have to translate it into a formal language. That's all. So let us get this. Okay, standard cylinder. I mean, you can change it accordingly. Normalize it. You can do that. But standard cylinder itself, standard cylinder. If you look at its shape. I take a sheet and then bend it. That's how you get that thing. So if you look at length is of course infinite. If you look at how much you require to get this. So if the standard cylinder, the radius is going to be 1. X square plus y square equal to 1. So the radius is 1. Therefore the diameter, circumference is going to be 2 pi. So we start with a sheet having, what is that, 0 to pi. Well, x coordinate, y coordinate does not make any difference. If you look at your first fundamental form, it is symmetric with respect to u and v. So there is no issue, you interchange, it doesn't make any difference. And the other side is r. That means you are taking vertical. Okay, that's fine. So this is your 0, 0, and this is your 2 pi comma 0, sorry, that's the other point, and you know, this sheet you take and fold it and get it. So this is to the cylinder. The cylinder C, of course I didn't write, C is the set of all points of the form x, y, z such that x square plus y square equal to 1, and z is free. That free one is taken care of by this, and this is the only thing that we have to ensure. I mean, without any stretching. So that's why this 2 pi is required. If it is more, then there is a stretching involved, but there is no stretching here. If you take a cylinder of radius 2, then you need 4 pi. So in that case you take 4 pi, so that no stretching or contracting is required, the distance is preserved. So that's general. If it is r, then accordingly you have to take 2r pi, that's all. So this is a plane, this is a open subset of R2, that's also a surface, and this is also a surface. This one that we have already seen how to make it a surface. Now we will give the map from, this is the map which we call it isometry. The advantage is that distance between points can be easily computed here. Using that you can give, so given 2 points, you come back here and look at the distance between them here, that gives the distance between them. And this is a beautiful thing. That's why this example I like to, explain. So let's look at this. What could be the map without any issue? This is f, s comma t, something like that. No, you all like the other way. Okay, t comma s. So first coordinate varies cos t, sin t, and second coordinate just arbitrary, same. Height is the same, we don't do anything. Okay, so that is the function. Now to show that this is an isometry, we have to take any arbitrary surface patch. So that method of making it, we have to show. So first, this is a surface, this is your S1. So S1 equal to this open subset of R2, which is also a surface, and this is your S2. Okay. Fine. So now let's look at now we have to show that this from here to the cylinder. That's this is your S1 and this is your S2. So now let's take any surface patch. So let sigma from some open subset of R2 to S1 be a surface patch. So we have to do it for all surface patches, by the way, so you can't just do for someone. Okay. All right. So and then you have this is your F composite that. So this will be sigma is an element here. So sigma sigma u comma v v is an element here that will be of some form t comma s. That's okay. You can write it as sigma 1 u sigma 2 u. That's probably, I don't know whether that is required. Sigma 1 u comma v sigma 2 u comma v. Okay. I mean, if we want, we can write it separately. That doesn't matter. And for nicety to push this, let us put this in R3 by putting third coordinate 0, so that you don't have to worry. It's also a surface embedded in R3. Okay. Now let us compute the first fundamental forms. Of course, here the first fundamental forms are just sigma u, sigma v. So let us write E is equal to norm of sigma u square. We don't know this because this is an arbitrary one. So right now we have no idea. And F is equal to sigma u dot sigma v. This also we don't know. Then G is equal to norm of sigma v square. Fine. Let us not worry about that part. Now you have to look at F composite sigma u. What is F composite sigma at u? This we have to write down. Okay. So what is that going to be? This is, see, we are identifying this, this with this, right? FTS 0. Okay. So we are identifying this. So let us write down what do we get. That is going to be cos, the way I have written is T first. Okay, that's all right. Cos sigma 1 uv sin sigma 1 uv and sigma 2 uv. That is F composite sigma uv. So let us compute this. I don't want to write it like this. Let me write sigma tilde uv because it's too much to write this. Okay. So what is sigma tilde u? Let's write down cos. So that will become minus sine sigma. I'm not going to write uv all that. Minus sigma 1 into the derivative of this, that is sigma 1 u. With respect to u, comma, this one will be, sine will become cos sigma 1 into, this is, push this inside, sigma 1 into sigma 1 u, and this is sigma 2 u. Let's compute what is E tilde, or let me write the other one also, sigma v tilde. So this is with respect to v, so it is going to be same, minus sine sigma 1 v cosine sigma 1 v and sigma 2 v. Okay, so let us now do it. What is E tilde? E tilde is the norm of this. What is the norm of this? These are all real valued now because coordinate functions are getting down to real valued. So it's easy to compute. This is going to be sine square plus cos square. So that goes sigma 1 u square plus sigma 2 u square. That's exactly this is the same as norm of sigma u square, and that is equal to sigma has sigma 1 sigma 2 0. So its norm is that that's equal to E, and same thing everything. Now I think it's easy for you to compute. F tilde, you compute F tilde equal to F and G tilde equal to G. So this is that's easy too. Same way you can complete it. So now what we have proved, given any parameterization of this, the first fundamental form associated with sigma, anything is incomplete.
Is that norm of E tilde?
Oh no, E tilde is norm of sigma tilde square, and that's what we computed. This is norm of sigma tilde u square. That's exactly what this. Thank you. Okay, so that's exactly this. That is also equal to norm of sigma u square. So just cosine sine, sum it up, you get it. All right. So that gives you the what is that term? That this map is going to be an isometry. So the beauty is, given any 2 points here, the shortest path is just straight line and you can easily measure. Of course, in this case it might go like this. But whatever it is, it will be helix kind of thing is what you're going to get. But looking at here it is difficult. But here it is very easy to find out what is the shortest path, straight lines. So that's why this example is very nice. But let me also caution you that not every, for instance, sphere you cannot get isometry with even any small part of sphere. You can't get isometry with an open subset of R2. In the standard form, you won't get it because you have to shrink somewhere or other to get. You have to bend it. So then you while bending, the edge gets shrunk, and therefore automatically, or center get expanded. So the distance changes. So you will never get it. But this is very easy. Another one that you can, now I'm not going to work out fully, but it is easy to understand, is the cone. Partly I have done, but I don't think I will give that. But you must yourself construct it. Cone. How do you get cone? Cone is obtained by just taking a paper piece like this and then bend like this. So this is how you construct a cone. So nowhere we have stretched or shrunk. We only bent it. Like cylinder, but it's in a different way of bending. So cone also is isometric to a subset of R2. Okay, so the standard way to look at for you, you can yourself construct it. So for this, let's even look at the symmetric, nice cone, so that work is minimal. So you take the upper half plane and bend it. Join these two, so you will get a cone. It's a simple example. You could make it different. So what will happen? So this circle is obtained by a semicircle here. While bending, that semicircle will become. Let's analyze what do we get? And this is going to be the radius of this R. While bending and you get the circle, this is going to be a radius. And now look at, while bending, this length of this curve is unchanged. That curve exactly becomes the circle here, because that's the point at the same distance from here. So same height you get, because from the origin it's the same, so it will be at the same height. I don't know what is the height, but certainly same height. But what is its length? It's exactly this, and this length is exactly pi r. So this length is pi r. That means the radius here has to be r by 2. Because this length, that semicircle is going to become a circle. That means the radius has to be exactly r by 2. And therefore this length, this height, Pythagoras theorem you apply. So this will be root of r square minus r square by 4, and that is equal to r root 3 by 2. So this height is r root 3 by 2. So after having done this, now you must be able to give a map. What will be the map? One thing is clear, the third coordinate is going to be fixed. So if you take f r theta for the time being, but this r and theta given u comma v, you will have to make it into r theta by taking root of square root of u square plus v square and tan inverse. Okay. So this r theta, what will you get? The third coordinate is going to be, somewhere we wrote, r root 3 by 2. And what is going to be the first and second coordinates for this circle? So this cos theta, it will go to a full circle. That means double. So your radius is r by 2 cosine 2 theta, right? So that when your theta goes from 0 to pi, here it will go full circle. So 2 theta and r by 2 sine 2 theta. Check all these and see whether it works. Interestingly, again here, using straight line here, and you can find out the image and get the shortest path. Okay, so that's another advantage, but this I have not worked out fully, unlike this one. This one you must try. I also have not worked out, but this is an intuitive way I have just explained this.